All right, 7 Days Media Football Show. We are live. Week 16 of the NFL season. We already have had some Thursday night action. We played Thursday night Falcons, right? Oh, no. We're in week 15. I'm an asshole. Falcons played the Buccaneers. Buccaneers lost again. Let's start with that before we get into some of the other. There was actually a lot of news this week. A lot of news. Let's start with. Do you want to start with Sharon Moore? I mean, it's college, but like Jesus Christ, that's a disaster.
Yeah, he's just an idiot, and he wasn't a good coach. It's just a weird story.
But the idea that like Michigan fans will tell you like, well, they just found out about it, and no, bro, they knew about this. They've known about this for a while, and if Sharon Moore had an undefeated season and just beat Ohio State, and you were going into the playoff, nobody would have heard a fucking heap about this. This would have been nipped in the butt. She would have signed an NDA, and it would have been over. So I think for me, on the outside looking in, it just looks like an easier way to get rid of Sharon Moore. You could fire him with cause. You don't have to pay him out, right? We're looking at all these big payouts that these college coaches are taking, especially if they don't take another job in the next year. You've got what's his face, Brian Kelly. I believe that buyout was like $90 million. I'm not sure if it got negotiated down to $25 million, but regardless, you're a school paying millions of dollars for a coach to no longer coach your program.
I could be wrong, but they fired him because he wasn't good enough, and they used that as an excuse, and then he went AWOL.
Yes.
All right, so I mean, I don't even blame the guy. I mean, just fire the guy. I do blame the guy for his actions, but the way that he wound up
losing his mind, I would have lost my mind.
It's like, all right, I probably wouldn't have, threatened to kill anyone, but I definitely would have lost my mind for a day or two. But whatever. I mean, your image is destroyed. You lose your family. You lose everything.
He's going to lose everything.
Not only do you get fired, you're losing your entire life. It's over for you forever. So,
absolutely.
But what he did after that is he's never going to get hired again.
No. All right, Falcons Buccaneers. They played Thursday night. The Falcons came back and win. The Buccaneers are on a skid here. I don't know, man. Does it have anything to do with Liam Cohen leaving to go coach Jacksonville? Now Todd Bowles has kind of had to put somebody else in that spot. I mean, just from a defensive standpoint, Todd Bowles, and he typically does run a really tight defense. Good pressure, good coverage out there in the secondary, even when he's got, nobody to throw out there. I'm honestly kind of surprised. If I'm surprised about anything, Baker's playing hurt. This whole offense is hurt. The offensive line, they just got Mike Evans back. In terms of their skill players, they're in a bad spot. But I expect a little more out of this defense, especially on Thursday night. I believe that this game was in Tampa Bay. It was. It was in Tampa Bay. You're wearing the creamsicle jerseys. I think they're going to lose here to the Panthers, and I think they're not going to the playoffs. I think the Panthers are going to win the NFC South.
I agree. They just aren't as good as they were last year. What are you going to do? You can't win. It's so hard to be good every year. And it's the Panthers' turn to be healthy and to be hot at the end of the year. So I think they play each other twice. So it could obviously change, but I think Baker Mayfield's getting a little, he's kind of figured out. He's not playing as well as he was last year. He's not elevating that team and carrying them to the playoffs. They need to play good defense. If they're not going to play defense, they're not going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, and Bucky Irving was hurt for the last 7 weeks. He's finally healthy again. Just seems like they don't have the momentum right now. You could build it. I mean, all they need to do is win next week, and they could ride that wave into the playoffs and probably win a playoff game still. But I just don't think it's their year. So, what are you gonna do?
Well, I mean, ultimately, the winner, whoever wins the AFC South, because of those records being so low, they're going to be that 4 seed. I mean,
3 seed.
Do you really? No, they'll be the 4.
No, NFC South. Yeah.
NFC South. I'm sorry. They'll be the 4 seed. they're in all likelihood going to play one of the Rams or the Seahawks, um, given how tight the NFC West race has been. I don't think I trust either the Buccaneers or the Panthers. I understand the Panthers beat
Yeah.
the Rams the other week. I think playoff Matt Stafford is a little different, especially in LA. And I think the same with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are for real. How far they'll go in the playoffs, I'm not sure, but I definitely see them getting out of the first round, depending on who they play. I also think if the winner of the NFC West or an NFC West team has to go to Philly and play the Eagles, if the Eagles end up being that 3 seed, I think the Eagles are in serious trouble too. Um,
Yeah.
so, it's a great story. The Panthers, and honestly, if you're a Panthers fan, or that team has definitely come a long way. I guess it doesn't seem that way because they're still a 6-loss team, but they've come a long way from where they were. The fact that they're still alive in December is great. I think that Bryce Young has completely revitalized his career. I mean, this was a guy we were talking on here, maybe weeks ago, of the Panthers are going to be another team looking at, when they can draft a quarterback, if they'll trade up, whatever they'll do. And I think the Panthers feel semi-secure in who they have under center. I think if you could protect him a little better, you could play a little better defense. I think the Panthers could really be a threat. And who is really threatening you in the NFC South? I mean, I had this conversation with one of my buddies at work last night, and like the team I look to that I think is just an absolute shit show and disaster, the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this is a team who traded up in the first round 2024 to get, was it 2024 or 2025? No, it's 2024. Last year was Michael Penix's first year.
Yeah.
They traded up to get Penix. Penix is now hurt. They don't have a first round pick this year, I don't believe. How many first round picks did they give up?
They gave up a first round pick next year to get James Pierce, which was a good move.
Mm-hmm. But you're in this weird situation if you're the Falcons where your head coach is not it, right? Raheem Morris is a disaster. That defense is a disaster. They've got nice weapons. Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts is up. I mean, they could franchise tag him next year, but I don't know that I see him wanting to stick around there. I mean, just from a statistical standpoint, he hasn't been where he really should be with his talent. His numbers have not reflected his talent. Is really where I'm going at with him.
Do you think that the Falcons? So the NFC South is so bad. The Falcons should be in it still. They just missed so many fucking field goals in the beginning of the year that it took them away. Now, let's say the Falcons were 6-7 right now.
Mm-hmm. I'd still feel better about the Panthers. I think the Panthers
probably would,
complete,
but I think that going into this offseason, they need to get an offensive-minded head coach.
Mm.
Gave Michael Penix one more year, and
well, the problem is he's hurt, and that rehab. I think. What did he do? He tore his ACL. So I believe the rehab there, like you're not really going to see him till the end of next year. And then I don't really know how you could judge him in, 8 games, 10 games. Like that's kind of tough. So I don't know. Like, I mean, you could pick up the 5th-year option on him. I think that's probably what they'll do. It's the safest. I mean, I don't even know if they'll do that. Come to think of it, because it's on a 4-year deal. I don't know. I genuinely, when I look at bad situations around the NFL, I think the Atlanta Falcons are in the worst. They're in the worst situation because it's really hard for them to build through the draft. They don't have a head coach. They don't really have quarterback figured out. Like, you could sell me on Michael Penix. You think he has the potential. But, like, up until now, we have seen zero consistency out of him.
I would just like to see an offensive-minded head coach. You can have a good defense with the D coordinator over there. Like, they're all young. They're all going to get better, I'm assuming, over the next 2 or 3 years. Those young guys they drafted this year should be good. and they're all showing out. So I think that they could be a very good team moving forward. Next year is a year where they should be able to compete, and they don't have Penix probably for like all of training camp. I think he'll be back in September to play. And this will be the last year that he gets a real chance. And then, whatever, he'll either they draft a quarterback the following year if he's no good, or they bring someone in to compete with him. It is what it is. You gotta. You can't fault anybody for picking a quarterback. You have to pick quarterbacks. It's just and Michael Penix wasn't a miss. He just wasn't playing elite, wasn't playing amazing, still a second-year player, and then he got hurt. So either he's going to be good, and he's got 1 year to show it, or they got to go back to the drawing board. The good thing for that team is that they can ignore quarterback 1 more year, and if they're bad in 26, 27's a really good quarterback class. They have their first-round pick. If they're good in 26, that probably means Penix was good enough to get him to like the playoffs or something, and they roll with him. But I think that next year's just a season where you're like, are the rookies that we drafted last year going to propel us to a team that can compete regularly with the Bucs and the Panthers in that division? Anyone can win that division. I think the Bucs are on a downward trend. I think the Panthers are. There's a serious limit there to what they can do. They're never going to be a 12-win team. That's just they're a 10-win team at best. That's what they are as a unit. So if you can put together an 11-win team, you should be able to win the NFC South every year. You don't have to win 14 games over there. It's not like you have the Bills or the Rams over there. You just need to be good enough.
And speaking of the Rams, I believe the Rams have that Atlanta Falcons first round pick, which sucks for the rest of the NFC. That the Rams have the potential here to either kind of load up, for one more shot with Stafford, or draft his replacement, very early in this draft. It sucks. It definitely sucks. Just being a fan of an NFC team, but I agree with you. I think 10 wins every year wins you the NFC South, and I think the NFC South is so bad that you'll get more than 10 wins because you have the Saints there twice a year. You've got the Falcons there twice a year. So and now the Buccaneers, the Buccaneers just. I don't think anybody had this on their bingo card. I think a lot of people going into the season, myself included, I had the Buccaneers winning 13, 14 games this year, just based off how bad I thought the NFC South was going to be, as well as how good I thought they would be. And when you combine those two, it's a recipe for quite a few wins, and we just haven't seen it. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of injuries, and it's really, really, really tough to overcome that. But they still have a shot here. They're mathematically not eliminated. I think I think they're in a similar situation to kind of the AFC North and the Ravens, right? Where the Ravens have looked dead. Like the past couple of weeks, they have not looked good, but they're still there. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not running away with this division by any means. And it's going to be a very interesting finish here. And I want to say the Bengals are still. Oh no, they might be eliminated now. I was going to say I think they're still mathematically around, but no, they're not. They're not eliminated yet. They're 4-9, and they're still eligible to make the playoffs. That's so crazy, man. That's so crazy. But okay, let's get into the 1 o'clocks here.
Yeah, the mathematically not eliminated is hysterical.
Oh, it's crazy. 1 o'clock window here. You got Commanders, Giants, Raiders.
Completely irrelevant.
Yeah, Raiders at Eagles. Eagles should roll them. I mean, Eagles are in trouble.
They need a bounce back game.
But this is very much so a bounce back game. I think the Eagles are still going to win the NFC East. I think that the Cowboys are in a really tough position at 6-1. The Eagles play the Raiders this week. They still have to play the Commanders twice. especially without Jaden. Which, by the way, Jaden Daniels gets hurt playing last week. Another reason to just not fucking play this guy. But have the Raiders, Commanders twice, and they've got the Bills. I'm pretty confident that the Eagles could get to 11 wins and win that division. I think at worst you'll see them win 2 more games and they'll be at 10, and the Cowboys would have to win out. And I think the Cowboys don't even have – oh, no, the Cowboys split the head-to-head matchup with them, so I don't know how that would go. But let's just assume here Eagles are winning this division. Are the Eagles – I mean, where are they right now? Where is your confidence level in them?
I kind of the playoffs for me start next week. So this week is a week where you want to kind of make sure you win, but you don't have to win. I want to see convincing wins. I want to see teams get hot. Week 17 and 18 going into the playoffs. So the Eagles have sputtered, but I'm more concerned about the teams that haven't sputtered yet. If you haven't, if you just have been rocking everybody like the Patriots, right? You've beaten bad teams. You just you're playing Bishop Sycamore last week. It's like at a certain point in time, like they haven't played enough competition and they haven't had a lull in their season yet. Where I'm like very confident that they will not be in the Super Bowl because of that. The Eagles are going through a skid right now, which if obviously you can keep sliding, but if they keep sliding, whatever. But if they can figure it out and start playing well, then I think you can build off of that going into the playoffs, and then you're just right back where you were. That's kind of how I feel with the Eagles. There's a lot of talent there. Saquon hasn't played well. I can't imagine it's because he is, just isn't good anymore. I think that they need to just go stick it to the running game for the next few weeks and figure out what their identity is. And if they do that, then they're going to be good. I think that they're too talented not to be somebody to you got to circle them on your schedule every year, and especially in the playoffs. They dominated last year. They weren't just winning games and barely getting to the Super Bowl, winning a close game in the Super Bowl. They rolled the Chiefs, they rolled the Commanders. The only close game was the Rams game. But realistically, the Rams only played well in the last 5 minutes of that game. Yeah. So. Right. But right now, I understand why people would be pessimistic about the Eagles right now in the future.
I worry when I watch them. I think that locker room has massive issues, without a doubt. There's clearly a split between Jalen Hurts and I wouldn't even say just A.J. Brown. I think the rest of the receivers here. And Petula has just been an unmitigated disaster. I keep seeing that rumor on social media that that the Giants are gonna interview Kevin Petula for their head coaching job. I gotta imagine that's a joke. If that's serious, that's crazy. All that being said, I worry. I worry about this Eagles offense. It's inconsistent. The tush push is not working for them anymore. You've had the Lions stop it. You've had the Bears stop it. They're starting to call the false starts there, the offsides on that play. And defensively, they're kind of a mess. This is usually a team that stops the run very well, gets after the quarterback, especially late in games, very well. And we've seen a little bit less of that. That secondary is also kind of a disaster. So, yeah, I worry about the Eagles. I think that this Eagles team, if they continue to trend in this direction, yes, I believe they're going to win their division. They'll be in the playoffs. I think if they have to play the Bears again, if they have to play Green Bay, if they have to, I honestly feel really good about Detroit playing them. I really do. I think Detroit, I think they lost to the Eagles because of bonehead decisions from Dan Campbell. I don't think you'll see that again twice in one season. And they really have a hard time moving the ball. They're like, I think I call their defense a disaster. I want to take that back. It's not as dominant as we've seen is really the way I would word their defense. But the offense is just is slow, is like no one, there's nothing, like the tempo is off. I don't know how else to put it. It's a lot of three and out, three and out, three and out. I mean, last week you saw Saquon, bust a run or two out there. I think he had a 65-yard carry into the end zone with a fake tush push. But something's missing from this team. I think a lot of teams are, and I think what also doesn't help them, I don't think anything happened to Saquon. I think that offensive line fell apart a little bit. Guys are hurt, and so they're not getting the push off the line of scrimmage that they usually get with Saquon.
Yeah.
But I think teams are just kind of selling out when they play the Eagles now. And they're daring Jalen Hurts to throw the ball down the field. They're daring him. I mean, they're stacking 9 guys in the box. They're man to man. And half the time, I mean, Devontae Smith is beating the coverage. A.J. Brown is beating the coverage. And Jalen can't get them the ball. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, it's like, you can only make so many excuses for this guy. And the guy was fantastic down the stretch last year. Like, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Will never take any – that lives on forever. All the credit in the world to him last year. I think this year, I think his flaws have really shown up, and people are not really afraid to just rush the hell out of them and force Jalen Hurts to beat you.
He won like 19 or 20 games in a row up until they lost in the beginning of this year. Like, the guy is definitely capable of winning at every level against any team. But he's obviously going through a cold spell. I don't think that. I mean, the Lions probably beat them easily in the playoffs, no matter where they play. Maybe they're a one and done this year, but you got to give even like that team, man. Even if they're not having a good year, they're 11 wins. Like, it's just their wagon. They're really good. They're hurt. They're winning 11 games. They're healthy. They probably win 13. They probably go to the NFC Championship game if they're healthy. That's the type of team they are. It's good for the. I think the Lions are the biggest team outside of maybe the Rams that I'm worried about if I'm an NFC team that's trying to make a run here. Everybody else, I mean, who else do you have? The NFC South. Not
the
concerned.
NFC South, yeah,
completely not concerned. Wishing to play them in the playoffs. I would love to play the Bears. I'd love to play the Packers.
I think the 49ers could be a frisky team in the playoffs. I think they could, depending on like I said, I think if San Francisco has to go to Carolina or Tampa, I think they beat them. I think if San Francisco has to go to Philly, I think they beat them. I'll go as far as saying I think San Francisco, like, I mean, the issue here is Brock Purdy. Like, what version of Brock Purdy are we going to see? And I know it was a joke. People were saying go back to Mac Jones, but like, if these turnovers keep happening, I think you will see Kyle Shanahan go back to Mac Jones. And I don't think Mac Jones is anything special. I think Brock Purdy is a better quality quarterback, but you can't keep turning the ball over.
Yeah. I just can't see them winning with Mac Jones, and I think Brock Purdy at least has, at least Brock Purdy knows how to win in the playoffs. But they're not. I know that the Niners aren't doing anything. Again, another team that I would love to play. I want to play them badly.
The Bears have to go to San Francisco, I believe, in week 17. Right before week 18, yeah. I have that game circled. That's Sunday Night Football. I would love to see. I mean, at that point, I don't know what I'll be rooting for. At the end of the day, Lions need to handle business. They have a really, really tough game. We haven't gotten into it yet. We got a real tough game here coming up with the Rams in LA. I don't know who I'll be rooting for that week, but I think some of the shine you talk about. Some of these teams, I mean, the Lions have been largely inconsistent this entire year. The Bears, some of that shine came off last week. I still think they played a really competitive game with the Packers. They were able to move the ball up and down the field. It took a little more than I think it took the Packers, but they were able to move the ball. Unfortunately for Caleb Williams, he throws a pick at the end of the game. I watched that game relatively closely. I don't think Caleb looked that bad. I think that was a really poor throw at the end of the game. But I
Yeah,
also think that
you need
but
to.
that was a terrible play call. I mean, what were you 4th and 3? You had time on the clock. I mean, for that to be your go-to play on a 4th and 3 could give you a cheap touchdown, but like
Well,
you had ran that.
the flat wasn't open, and then he just tried to
No, he threw it right
change
at
it.
the defensive back. Um, like you can't even defend that. And what a pill to swallow for the Bears here, right? Because you were the 1 seed, you lost that game, you got knocked down to the. I mean, that is how tight the NFC playoff picture is. The Bears went from the 1 seed. The team that beat them isn't even the 1 seed currently. Okay, they
Yeah,
went from the 1 seed to the 8 seed, the bottom spot here, and if the Bears hypothetically were to lose to Cleveland tomorrow, which I don't think they will, and the Lions were to beat the LA Rams tomorrow, the Lions would slot into that spot. So in a matter of 2 weeks, they went from the 1 seed to out of the playoffs if all those things happen.
which they could happen. I don't think the Bears are. I think the Bears were never going to be a team this year that was going to get to the playoffs, and they had such a great start. But you know what? The NFC's
So
unbelievable this year.
so many
So
of these the Bears, like, not to take anything away from them, they have had a fantastic season. I I could not have been more wrong about Ben Johnson. I really thought he was going to be in over his head coaching in Chicago, and he looks great. This offense looks great. But the margin of victory in some of these games with the Bears, I mean, they had beaten, um, they had beaten the. Let's go back to it. They beat the Raiders in whatever that was, week 4, by the Raiders missing whatever it was, like a 38-yard field goal in the last second of the game. They beat up on the Cowboys pretty good. You know, they beat the Commanders by a point. They beat the Saints by 12. You know, they lost. They ended up losing to the Ravens. Got into a shootout with the Bengals, with the Joe Flacco Bengals, and won. They beat the Giants by 4. I can't say anything. We beat them by a touchdown in overtime. And, they beat the Vikings by 2. Like, all of these, the Steelers, they beat them by 3 points. Like, these lower level teams, now they beat the Eagles. That was pretty big on Black Friday. But
what's gonna happen with the Bears is Week 18 is going to be a playoff game and it'll be played on Sunday night. That's how I feel. I think that the Bears and the Lions are going to be playing to get into the playoffs Sunday night, Week 18, and it'll be a good time. We'll be drinking. I'll be there. It'll be a good time. I also actually put that's a. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be at 4 o'clock. I think the Steelers and the Ravens are going to be.
I was going to say that I think the AFC North is going to have that. Right now, we're slotted in the 1 o'clock window. That's subject to change. That's going to be January 4th. Yeah, we're going to fucking tie one on that day. But I mean, all of this really comes down to, and we'll get into the AFC here because we haven't touched the AFC much. The Lions need to beat. They don't need to beat the Rams tomorrow. They could lose to the Rams and still be alive, assuming the Bears lose another game here down the stretch. But
Yeah.
I think if you're the Lions, you have to walk into LA tomorrow like it's a playoff game. And I know you've got to treat every other game at this point like it's a playoff game. But you haven't lost back to back since 2022, but you also haven't won back to back games since week 4 or something. Week 3 of this. Or no, yeah, week 4 of the season, or 5 or 6, whatever it was. Early in the season, pre-Halloween, was the last time the Lions have won back-to-back games here. You need to get in the win column, but like the Bears, the Rams are the litmus test, right? I think the Rams and the Seahawks are the class of the NFC right now. I think you could pick either one of those teams to win the West. I think you could pick either one of those teams to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think anybody would call you crazy or out of your mind for that.
No.
I think both teams are playing at an elite level. They're both coached very well. However, if you're the Lions, this is the litmus test. right? A lot of your victories earlier in the year don't look as good as they looked then, today, right? That Ravens victory on Monday night was really big. And now it kind of doesn't look so good, right? So if you're Detroit, like this is the pinnacle, right? You're in their environment, whatever really that's going to be at SoFi tomorrow, and they're the class of the NFC. If you could knock them off, there was no, in my mind, there's no one stopping them the rest of the regular season. Like if they could beat the Rams, I firmly believe they could beat the Steelers, the Vikings, and then the Bears. And at that point now, you're talking if the Lions are going for 12 wins and the Bears lose a game here, yeah, then that Sunday night game is going to be really fucking important. It's going to be important regardless. Not Sunday night, the Week 18 game. But that is the Rams are the class of the NFC. If you could beat them, if you could, even if you just you catch them sleeping and you're not really better, I don't think it really matters in the NFL whether you're better than the other team or not. You just have to be better on that day. We've seen that with the 2007, the 2011 Giants. At no point in the season were they ever the best team in football. But they got hot late in the year, December and January, and that's how they won those Super Bowls. I think if you're the Lions, that kind of needs to be your mindset. You've got to get hot here, and it starts tomorrow.
Yeah. It definitely starts tomorrow. But here's the thing. The game I really don't give a shit, but I give so much shit about, is the Colts now. I want to watch that game start. I'm obsessed with that game. I'm rooting for the Colts. I hate the Colts, but I'm rooting for them.
Now, why is that?
I think I want them to lose by a point. I love Phillip Rivers. I think it's insane. It's hysterical.
You cracked the window here.
It's the best. Phillip Rivers goes on a run here, makes the playoffs at 44 years old with the Colts. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, his case to make the Hall of Fame dramatically increases, and it resets his clock, so it gives the other quarterbacks that he was in the in the running with for years, it gives them the ability to get inducted. I think the thing with Phillip Rivers was like, he's not going to the Hall of Fame this year. He's not going next year. He's not going the next year after that. You're going to get Brady. You're going to get Breeze got in already, or is this his first year?
I think this is his.
This is his year to get in.
Eli did not get in.
Eli's going to get in over him.
Over
Matt Ryan,
over Drew Brees?
Over Phillip Rivers. All these guys are getting in over Phillip Rivers. Big Ben.
Matt Ryan should be a Hall of Famer.
Let's say he does come back here, and he brings the Colts to the playoffs, right? The last taste of Phillip Rivers in your mouth is the guy came off the couch 5 years later and brought the Colts to the playoffs. They just need to go 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
So you go 2-2, you make the playoffs, and then 5 years later when you're eligible again, all those guys that you were competing with are already in the Hall of Fame. And you get to go, and then you get to be the only quarterback that people are talking about.
I mean, well, who knows? Oh, yeah, because nobody. No, if Matt Stafford retires this year, I think Matt would go in over him. Then he gets up. This was a good question for him. Well, for the audience here, and when Facino comes back, there he is. The question here, they got to win 2 games. They've got the Seahawks in Seattle. Then they play the Niners at home. They go to Jacksonville. Oh, no. They play Jacksonville at home. And then they go to Houston to play the Texans. I'll be honest.
Beat the Niners.
Maybe.
And I think they'll beat the Texans.
I don't think they'll beat the Texans. I don't think they're beating you guys in Jacksonville. Well, they're playing in Indy, but they're not beating Jacksonville. And they're definitely not beating the Seahawks. I mean, unless we see like a late year implosion from Sam Darnold. And I don't know that I see. I think, what's his face? Sauce Gardner. He's still out for them?
He's done for the year, I think.
No.
Yeah, he strained his calf, and you can't fuck with that. He's done.
Just says he's out. Won't return for week 15. No. So it looks like he's going to play again, but he's just not playing this week.
Okay. He'll blow his Achilles out then. Right? I mean, no?
I hope not. I don't want to see that happen to the poor guy. I think
but...
I disagree with you. I think the Colts, I don't see them winning 2 more games. They're 13.5-point underdogs tomorrow in Seattle. I don't see them winning 2 more games. I think that this is it. It sucks. If you're a Colts fan, this sucks. I mean, but I think from an organizational standpoint, I do feel like, I mean, I gave her some flack in the beginning of the year wearing the headset on the sideline, but I think you might be in the right direction in terms of your coaching staff, in terms of your ownership. I mean, this is clearly an ownership group that really wants to win, and she wants to be involved every day. I don't think, maybe she'll get duped by certain things, and I think any of us would in that position. But I don't know. I've done a 180 on her. I didn't like her on the sideline wearing the headphones. I thought it was kind of a spectacle. Now I kind of get it. She's really involved. She seems to really love this.
Yeah.
And
her father died, and she got handed a football team, and she's like, if I do nothing, I'm just going to be doing the same shit my dad did. Because my dad was just doing drugs. So let me just see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And at least, when she fires this coach, the next hire she makes, she'll be able to see a actual difference in real time while she's on the sideline, so that she'll be able to juxtapose these coaches. I don't know if Steichen. I like Steichen a lot. I think
I don't have a problem with Steichen so far.
I would never fire him. I really wouldn't. I think that they just haven't found the coach. The quarterback, and I think he's been making it work with quarterbacks that haven't been working elsewhere. So clearly he's doing something right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's just doing something right.
And give me the organization like Indy that goes for it. Give me that 10 times. Yes, was it a clear and distinct overpay for Sauce Gardner? Absolutely. The Jets, in my opinion, made out like bandits in that trade. However, that's what trading at the deadline is. That's what it is, right? You are paying a premium to get a guy in your building last minute that you can't get off the street. You can't get in the draft because it's not draft time yet. It's like if you own a boat and you're paying for gas on the water. That's what it is, right? You are paying a premium for convenience and for help there. Give me that 10 times out of 10 over the general managers that are scared to move draft picks, that are scared to mortgage the future, that are scared to sell their soul. Because you know what? Were the Colts in all likelihood going to win a Super Bowl this year? Probably not. Probably not. But you know what? You don't know who's about to get hurt, right? Just like Daniel Jones got hurt, anything could happen.
It could be Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
anybody can win.
And then you could kind of just find yourself in the AFC Championship, a couple of months from the deadline. So it's just, I think if you're a Colts fan, you have to be I know the future looks kind of bleak in that Jones has that Achilles injury, so he's not coming back anytime soon, and you don't have first round picks. But I think from an ownership standpoint, you are in a good situation. You have an owner that is not just trying to win before she's dead. She looks like she's relatively young. It looks like she got some Botox, but she looks like she's relatively young.
Looks fine.
She's got time, and she had the balls to push the fucking chips to the middle. Some of these ownership groups and general managers who have been in this business day after day after day for 20, 30, 40, 50 years did not have the stones to do what she did. And okay, it didn't work out right. Garner got hurt, and now they need a quarterback. Okay, but you know what? You tried. You did something. You didn't sell me a bill of goods that, well, guys we have in our building are good enough, and we think we can build around them. And we're all clamoring for something at the deadline for a fucking reason. And to constantly year after year, at least as a Lions fan, just hear that, well, We didn't want to overpay, and the deals just weren't really. Then you know what? If you're in that world, you'll never win anything. You'll never win a Super Bowl.
You'll never be a winner.
You will never be the team that really wins it all because you're too scared to overpay. Like that's the business of trading at the deadline, and you have to hope that you do a good enough job in free agency. You do a good enough job restructuring contracts. You do a good enough job in the draft that those draft picks are not as important as they were 5, 6, 7 years ago. I mean, they're always important. You always need draft picks. That's how you really build a program. However, at some point, you got to put your balls on the table and really try to win. And it's just, I commend, Carly Ursay. I commend Chris Ballard, everybody in that front office that made the decisions that they made to bring in Sauce Gardner. And maybe this doesn't work long term, but good for you for identifying a situation, identifying a need, and once again, putting your dick on the table and going after it.
If you don't go after it,
every time.
You just can't beat teams without actually acquiring talent. You got the coach. You thought you had the quarterback. I mean, whatever. That's a different story. But you go and you fucking try. My teams don't try. Although now the Jaguars try. The Jaguars are absolute savages. They're the best. It's unbelievable.
You want to get into the Jags? Let's get into the Jags.
The Jags are a fucking wagon. I think that they can win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Who do the Jaguars play tomorrow? The Jets. If they don't win by 30, I'm going to be upset. I know it's hard to win in this league and, that whole shit, whatever, but, I think that they're really fucking good. And I think that they should win. They should win every fucking game that they play. I really do. That's what I think.
They're in a good situation right now. I mean, you feel comfortable with Liam Cohen, no?
I'm very comfortable with Liam Cohen. I think what he's done with that team is very impressive. I think players are starting to actually play well. They had some problems with the receiving core. They were letting down the quarterback. The quarterback was getting shit on. Now, everybody's getting healthy again. Brian Thomas is catching footballs. The quarterback's ripping it. The defense is opportunistic. It's just exactly what you want. This is exactly the position that you want to be in right now.
I mean, you're in a position here, I believe, to win the AFC South. It is a little early. I mean, the Texans are creeping up here, but I think you got to win. So, 2 more games here?
People think the Texans are just going to win out. They're just going to win every game. It's not. You can't just winning.
It doesn't matter if they win out, hypothetically. If the Jaguars
yeah, I think the Jaguars will lose a game because it's not easy to win 4 in a row. But if I think the Jaguars are going to lose a game, the Texans are just magically going to they're just going to beat the Colts and they're going to beat the Chargers and they're going to beat the Cardinals. Those are real teams. I know the Cardinals haven't won a lot of games, but the Cardinals are going to play you competitively, and you got to play football that day. The Chargers are trying to make the playoffs, and they are better than you. They have a better quarterback. They have a better coach. They're in the AFC West. They've played some real fucking teams. I don't know why everyone just thinks that that's just going to be a no problem win for the Texans. That's not what I can't imagine that being the case. And then they play the Colts last week of the season, who again are like the coach more. I think the team as a whole is more talented than the Texans. But the Texans have this amazing defense that people are obsessed with. But guess what? In the NFL, defense sort of wins championships. But you know who wins championships? Quarterbacks and head coaches. Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Sean McVay. Those are the guys that are winning Super Bowls. So, I'm not worried about the Miko Ryans and their edge rushers. They have C.J. Stroud. Do you think C.J. Stroud's going to go on a run? It's just you listen to the NFL First Take and stuff, and think about it. C.J. Stroud is going to go beat Josh Allen. He's going to go and
he's not playing Josh Allen until the playoffs.
He's going to win 3 games in a row in the playoffs.
He did beat Josh Allen already.
Yeah, but did he beat Josh Allen or was that Davis Mills?
It was Davis Mills. Davis Mills, yeah. I don't know. I think the Texans are going to the playoffs. I don't think they're winning your division. I think you guys are 1 game ahead. I could see you guys at worst going 3-1 down the stretch, comfortably winning your division. You split the head-to-head matchups with them. So I think you'll win. I think you'll go 3-1 here, even if the Texans win out. If you guys go 3-1, oh no, would that put you guys at the same record?
We have to win out. I don't think the Texans are winning out.
I think they're beating the Cardinals. I think they're
possible.
beating the. I think the Raiders are bad. The Cardinals are bad. They're going to win both of those games. I think they're definitely going to beat the Colts week 18.
Don't bet the Texans this week.
Well, it's probably awful odds. Yeah, they're -10. So
yeah, they're going to win. Really the Cardinals are going to win that game.
I don't think so.
I'm telling you right now.
The Cardinals have been horrific.
They've been bad, but the Cardinals Cardinals head coach is defensive coordinator too. I think that if the Texans have to score points, they can't just win every game by scoring 15 points. If you can stifle that team, I think Jacoby Brissett can move the football. I think he'll be able to move the football in the Texans.
He does. He moves the football really well for a backup. I mean, if your backup quarterback is Jacoby Brissett, you're in a really good situation.
Very happy.
I love him. No, I don't think so. I think they're going to beat the Cardinals. I think they're going to beat the Raiders. I agree with you that Chargers game's a toss-up. I think nobody wants to really marry themselves to the Chargers because they've got talent. I mean, they've got all the talent in the world. I should say all the talent in the world. They've got a lot of talent, especially offensively. They've got a great coaching staff. But they're just like week to week, you don't know what you're getting out of them. I mean, they're similar in a way to the Lions where, they win a game and now everyone thinks highly of them and then they go and they kind of shit down their leg. And I think the other problem with the Chargers here, and I'm not a Justin Herbert guy. I think the guy's overrated, but it looks like he's playing with some rough injuries. Looks like he's got some broken fingers or something. Looks like he's got issues holding on to the football. I mean, it's bad enough throwing interceptions, down the sideline or whatnot. When you're just fumbling snaps, when you're fumbling, running around in the pocket trying to evade a defender, I mean, it doesn't look too good for you. If I were to give you a hot take today on December 13th, I think the Chargers might miss the playoffs. The only thing saving them is, like, who's going to take that spot? The Ravens won't win enough. The Colts are, if the Colts go in, they're going in with the Texans and the Chargers are out. That's my belief. I don't think the Texans are missing the playoffs. I think they have too many easy games down the stretch.
What do you think about the Chiefs?
I'm never going to call them dead until they're mathematically eliminated. However,
dude, they went out, they're in automatically almost.
No, because they lost to the Texans, they've lost to the Bills, and I believe they lost to I don't know what their record is against the Chargers. But
if they went out, the only competition is the Chargers. The Chargers if the Chargers go 2-2 down the stretch, and the Chiefs went out, that means that they would have lost to the Chiefs this week. All right, let's say the Chargers lose to the Chiefs this week.
Okay.
Now the Chargers
Titans
have
Broncos,
to go.
Raiders.
They'd have to go 3-0 down the stretch, or else they're out. If the Chiefs went out, the Chargers have to.
Yeah, this is a really important week in the AFC West.
This is a huge because I'm telling you, man, the Chargers need to go 11-6.
Kind of surprised they're putting Chargers Chiefs in the 1:00 window. That game being in Kansas City. I guess it's just not much interest. I mean, in the 4:00 window, you've got Lions at Rams, you've got Colts at Seahawks, Titans at Niners. You have to because the Niners are home. Packers at Broncos. You have to because the Broncos are home. Panthers. Honestly, yeah, Panthers Saints is probably a more interesting game to watch than Chiefs Chargers. I'll be honest with you. I'm done watching the Chiefs, man. They're not an exciting team to watch at all.
Yeah.
I mean, brutal. Kelsey is a shell of his former self. Mahomes has not been the same guy. I don't believe that he's just all of a sudden bad. I think he needs more help around him. Um, I mean, he does have some decent help, but I think they need a refresh there. They probably got to change up that offense a little bit. They've relied so heavily on the defense the past 3 seasons now in Kansas City that now when they need the offense to step up and win some games, they can't. So no, I think they're not making the playoffs. I think they will lose one of these games down the stretch, one or two of these games. Right? If they lost, right now they're 6-7, so the very best they could be is 10-7, which the AFC is bad enough that 10-7 will probably get you in. But it's going to be tough, man. I mean, like I said, they lost to the Bills, they lost to the Texans, and those teams are ahead of them. This Chargers game is going to be really important. Um, we'll see what happens. There could be a lot of flip flopping here. Chargers lose and the Colts somehow win, then I believe the Colts would go up and take that spot. Right? Did they play each other head to head? They did. They beat the Chargers, so they would take that spot. I mean, all I could say is thank God in the NFL we have an actual playoff format and not this nonsense with college of rating
We
what.
like this guy. We don't like this guy.
Like, thank God it's your record, and then there is a system for. And I understand why college has to do that. There's just too many teams. But
You know what it makes me think? It makes me think Marcus Freeman is just he's gonna be the Giants head coach. Why would you want to be in the NCAA right now? It just seems like it sucks. I can't.
Yeah, it's not the job that it was. It's you're really. I mean, I would say this in the NFL. You're basically a politician when you're a head coach, but you're really like a politician when you're a college head coach. You're constantly meeting with donors. You're constantly trying to drive up the NIL. You're constantly meeting with recruits and transfer portal guys, and it seems like a really unmanageable life. You're paid handsomely for it. I mean, I'm not saying I feel bad for those guys, but I just don't. I think there's less and less coaching, and there's more and more. Hey, coach, we need you to come do this. Hey, coach, we need you to take this video. Hey, coach, we need. It seems like it's a lot more of that than it is. Beating USC this week. Like, and it's in the NFL. This is it. This is it. This is your job. There's no donors. It's already a business, right? You've got people upstairs that are working on ticket sales and judging how much to charge a hot dog and a beer. But yeah, I guess that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the one thing I'll say is he seems to be a well-liked guy at Notre Dame. He's getting paid pretty handsomely. He's getting paid a lot more than a lot of NFL head coaches. So to leave, I mean, like hypothetically, I don't think the Dolphins job would be open this year. But if it was, right, let's say McDaniel's making $3.5 million a year. I mean, that's like the Vanderbilt head coach makes more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he needs to. I wouldn't. How does he only making $3.5 million?
I looked it up. I was shocked by the number. I couldn't believe it. I know, like when Dan Campbell got the job in Detroit, he was making $4. But since the success, he's got some pay bumps here.
The crazy part is that he got an extension.
It's not a lot of money.
He's a good coach.
I think he is too.
It is 9:00. What other games we have? Because I gotta alleviate my mom here of babysitter duty.
You tell me what else you like here on the schedule. I mean, any opportunity for the Bears to beat the Browns to beat the Bears? I don't think so, but
no.
I'm hoping.
I am watching.
I would love to see it.
My eyes will be glued to that.
I'm
gonna have a quad box
Shador.
going. Yeah, I got the quad box. It's gonna be, I'm gonna go Chargers Chiefs on one box, Bills Patriots on the next, Jets Jags, and Browns Bears are gonna be my 4 games I'll watch. Luckily, we get the Colts Seahawks is gonna be a later game. It's a ton of 4:00 games. There's 5 of them this week.
Packers Broncos is gonna be a really good game.
Love to see that. It's going to be a nice, fun 4:00. Be a long day of football, and then we get the Vikings Cowboys, which is like the worst game of the week at Sunday night. So we can go to bed early And then we have a crappy Monday night game, Dolphins Steelers. Actually, it's not crappy.
It's not as crappy as it sounded like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I would like to see the Steelers win. I like Rodgers, of course. Would like to see him at least get to the playoffs in his last year. Other than that, let's get some wins this week.
All right, let's go Lions. Let's go Jags.
Good luck.
Duval.
Big game for you. Regular game for me. Must win.
All right, thank you everybody for tuning in.